Members of the McBee Dynasty, Real American Cowboys cast, are showing their support for Steven McBee Sr. amid his present sentence after pleading guilty to one count of federal crop insurance fraud. In the hours before the news broke on October 16, his sons Steven McBee Jr. and Cole McBee, as well as the patriarch's ex-girlfriend and McBee Farm and Cattle Co. CFO, Galina Salkowska, took to social media with uplifting messages, while Jesse McBee and even Steve Sr. himself weighed in later. Prior to learning the details of his father's punishment, Steven Jr. used his Instagram stories to share a photo of them on horseback that he previously posted on Father's Day 2025, along with a text overlay that read, "Love ya, Dad. Whole family is here for you." Cole, for his part, reposted a family photo from Jesse and Ali Ventresca's wedding day, writing, "We will get through anything together. To the hardest working man I know, it's our turn to be here for you. We got you, Dad." Meanwhile, Galina more subtly uploaded an excerpt from Theodore Roosevelt's 1910 Man in the Arena speech, tagging Steve Sr. in her IG stories. After his sentencing, Steve Sr. shared the same speech excerpt as Galina on his main grid, adding a quote from William Shakespeare's Julius Caesar in the caption, "Cowards die many times before their deaths. The valiant never taste of death but once." Finally, Jess posted an image of his dad surrounded by rocks and dirt and holding a hammer on his stories, adding the Latin phrase Invictus Manio, which loosely translates to "I remain undefeated." What was Steven McBee Sr.'s sentence in his crop insurance fraud case? A U.S. District Court judge reportedly ordered Steve Sr. to serve 24 months behind bars on October 16, along with another 2 years of supervised release, according to People. He also must pay $4,022,124 in restitution and will have to self-surrender before December 1. Steve Sr. had been facing a maximum sentence of 30 years in federal prison without parole, according to a statement from the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Western District of Missouri. Federal prosecutors had previously filed a sentencing memorandum on October 6, recommending that Steve Sr. serve 41 months in prison, in addition to paying $4 million in restitution to the USDA, followed by 3 years of supervised release, per DTN. What crime was Steven McBee Sr. accused of? Steve Sr. entered his guilty plea on one count of federal crop insurance fraud with a Kansas City court in November 2024, and in doing so admitted that he engaged in fraudulent activity from 2018 to 2020 that caused an economic loss to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, per the DOJ. More specifically, he accepted blame for submitting fraudulent documents that underreported the McBee Farm and Cattle Co.'s corn and soybean crop totals in 2018, resulting in his business unlawfully receiving more than a combined $3 million in federal crop insurance subsidies and federal crop insurance premium subsidies. How Steven McBee Jr. prepared for his dad's sentencing day. Months before he learned his dad's fate, Steven Jr. opened up about how the FBI investigation had impacted all of the McBees. "It's been a very, very stressful time for our family," he shared in an exclusive July 2025 interview with B&B. "As much good as we've had going on, that has always been sort of this cloud that's been looming over us at all times, and we think about it all the time." As Steve Sr.'s sentencing date approached, the eldest McBee brother further unpacked the emotions that were weighing on him. Noting in an interview with B&B that he was feeling scared, nervous, anything and everything, he continued, "All of the emotions are being stirred leading up to my dad's sentencing. We love him so much and love our family unit, so to picture him not being here with us for any amount of time, it's scary. We're focusing on the positive things we have going, of which there are so many, but I'd be lying if I said that black cloud hasn't been hanging over us every second of every day since we first found out," Steven Jr. added. "We're ready to get past that day, deal with whatever comes of it, and move on, to say the least. We know no matter what, if we stick together as a family, we'll make it through anything. Though many in the tight-knit rural community had followed the McBee's rise to fame through the McBee Dynasty, real American cowboys, few had anticipated such a public fall from grace for their patriarch, Steven McBee Sr. Still, as the cameras dimmed and the noise of social media swelled, the McBee family's response was not outrage, but unity. The family's private pain. Inside the family's expansive farmhouse, the same one often seen on the show, silence lingered longer than usual. The dining table, typically buzzing with talk of ranch work, crops, and reality TV schedules, sat untouched. A half-empty pot of coffee cooled on the counter as the brothers processed the reality that their father would soon be gone for 2 years. "It's surreal," a source close to the family shared. They knew the risks, but hearing the judge's words, it hit them like a freight train. Steven Jr. took on the role of the steady hand, trying to keep the family grounded. He had always been his father's right-hand man, managing the business, overseeing the cattle operations, and dealing with the public spotlight since the series premiered. Now he was trying to hold everyone together. "He's our dad," Steven Jr. told friends quietly later that evening. "We've all made mistakes in one way or another. His just happened to play out on a federal level." The fallout beyond the farm. For many fans of the McBee Dynasty, the news sparked a mix of sympathy and disbelief. Social media threads were filled with messages of support and skepticism. Some defended Steve Sr., calling him a hard-working man caught up in the system, while others accused him of using his influence and fame to gain leniency. But inside the McBee family, the noise of public opinion mattered less than the reality of saying goodbye. Cole, the more reserved of the brothers, posted a cryptic message the morning after the sentencing. "Not all lessons are learned in freedom. Some are learned in the quiet." Those close to the family said Cole had taken the news harder than most. "He idolized his dad," one insider said. "To see the man who taught him everything about ranching, leadership, life, being sentenced was like watching a piece of himself being taken away." Galina's silent loyalty. Then there was Galina Solkowska. Though no longer romantically involved with Steve Sr., her loyalty had not wavered. Her social media post quoting Theodore Roosevelt wasn't just poetic, it was deliberate. "The man in the arena," she later wrote in a follow-up comment, "is the one who strives valiantly and errs greatly, but still dares greatly. That is Steve." People close to Galina said she had been one of the few who regularly visited Steve Sr. during the months leading up to his sentencing, helping manage financial logistics and ensuring McBee Farm and Cattle Co. continued running smoothly. "She's kept the company alive," one employee shared. "She's been the backbone." A town divided. Gallatin locals, long familiar with the McBee's presence and philanthropy, were conflicted. Some recalled Steve Sr.'s generosity, donating beef to local food drives and sponsoring high school rodeo events. Others couldn't overlook the fraud. "It's hard," said one neighbor. "You want to believe in people who've brought so much pride to our community. But at the end of the day, justice has to be justice." In the town square cafe, talk of Steve Sr.'s case dominated the chatter. 2 years isn't nothing," one rancher said over coffee. "But it could have been 30. That judge showed mercy." Preparing for goodbye. By late October, the family began preparing for Steve Sr.'s self-surrender. The ranch became a hive of activity. Tractors tuned, feed schedules reorganized, and business meetings rearranged to ensure continuity during his absence. Steven Jr. took over day-to-day operations, while Jesse handled logistics with suppliers and Cole worked on expanding their social media and brand partnerships, hoping to keep income steady. "They're hustlers," a show producer shared. "Say what you want about the McBees, but they don't stop moving, even when life throws a hay bale their way." Still, behind the work, emotions ran high. A week before his surrender date, the family gathered for one final Sunday dinner. It was a tradition Steve Sr. never missed, no matter how busy ranch life got. This one felt different. Candles flickered in the low light as the family ate in silence. Finally, Steve Sr. raised his glass and said, "I've made choices I wish I hadn't, but I've also raised sons who can face anything, even this. So long as you stick together, we'll be just fine." Tears fell quietly. There were no cameras, no producers, no scripts, just a family bracing for the hardest goodbye they'd ever known. What comes next? Production insiders confirmed that Season 3 of the McBee Dynasty was still in development, but now with an unexpected twist. Discussions were reportedly underway to film portions of Steve Sr.'s journey through the justice system and the family's efforts to keep their empire intact in his absence. "It's real life," a Bravo insider noted. "Viewers have seen the glamour of ranch life, the romance, the business deals. Now they'll see the fallout, and how resilience looks when everything's on the line." Sources close to Steven Jr. said he was torn about filming. He wants transparency, but he also wants to protect his dad's dignity. It's a delicate balance.